The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of KSMQ Public Service Media Incorporated or its assigns.
And welcome to On Cue. I'm your host, Eric Olson. Glad you're with us. On today's program, we're going to talk about the incredible compassion and goodwill generated by citizens in our region. We're going to hear some great stories firsthand. Please stay with us.
From KSMQ Television in Austin, this is On Cue, connecting interesting issues and interesting people. On Cue.
In southern Minnesota and northern Iowa, we're known for being friendly, helpful people. Our guests on today's show are wonderful examples of just how much we care not only for our neighbors, but for fellow human beings across the country, even in another country. Our first guest is Dr. Dick Schindler, who has been practicing medicine in Austin since 1972, here to tell us about some important works that are taking place in Haiti. And welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much.
How did you become knowledgeable or involved in the Haiti project to begin with? It's been over many, many years.
Many years. I've been in public health here in Austin for many years, and one of the diseases that was very pertinent in Haiti also became prominent here in the United States in the 80s, and that was AIDS. AIDS was a very common problem in Haiti in the 80s, and I became interested in the work Paul Farmer out of Boston was doing. And Paul has worked in the central parts of Haiti for years, knew him through public health, and he got us interested in Haiti. And then I started more interest as Mary Farjan, who's worked with me as a PA for 30 years.
Here in town.
Yep.
Yep.
And Mary linked up with a group out of Haiti, and had a chance to go, and she came back with wonderful experiences and huge needs that the people there had, and got me bought in, and we started working back. 2003 was about the first time we went.
How many times have you been there?
I've been down there 4 times. She's been down there about 15.
What numbers can constitute a team when you go down about?
Usually 12 to 15 plus interpreters, and usually the interpreters are local people there who are educated, college-trained people.
So several doctors?
Usually try 3 to 5 doctors if we can,
Okay.
Or doctors meaning nurse practitioner or PA or physician.
And do you know when you are leaving, just from a practical matter, where you're going and what you're going to be doing, or do you just get there as a team and they send you, today you're going here, tomorrow you're going there, in a normal trip, if there is such a thing?
Oh, there is, and we go annually. It's all pre-planned. They've linked with the local people as to what do they need, what supplies do they need, where are they having trouble with patient care or public health issues, and we go with an agenda.
And your most recent trip there, talk about that a little bit. You had some Mother Nature problems there.
That was November. We were supposed to go with the group. We go now with the group that's organized out of Texas, Haitian and Caribbean American organization at Texas, HACOT it's called, or ACO if you're French.
Okay.
And they plan the trip. They provide the interpreters, and they get the equipment, the medical supplies down there for us to private individuals. And so we were going with the idea of setting up another remote clinic. They had local nurse there who would be willing to work there. And we were going just to work with her for about a week, get her out, get things in gear, see what supplies she would need ongoing, do some education with her. We got there and they had 18 inches of rain in 3 hours the night before we got there. And then through the next couple days, a total of 30 inches of rain. Mudslides washed out the roads to the area in northern Haiti where we've been working.
Well, I was going to say that would knock out any community. As far as services and roads, and up in northern Minnesota this summer,
Yes.
Duluth went to a standstill, and that was nothing near what they had in Haiti.
That's right. That was 11 inches, I think. And so there was devastation, and we just ended up setting up clinics, 3 different sites in churches, and just worked out of there. And word of mouth, we saw with 3 to 5 providers, we saw anywhere 350 or so patients a day.
Are you still treating, not the AIDS patients, has that come and gone, or is that still a primary?
AIDS is still a problem, but they've got nice national programs now, or regional programs, where AIDS patients can get their medications. They can be followed just like tuberculosis. So there have been some inroads there. The last 2 years, the big newsmaker has been cholera, brought in after the earthquake by, they feel, UN people. And we've had confirmed cases, 600,000 cases of cholera in 2 years. And over 7,000 people have died. So cholera, which is a diarrhea, just rampant diarrhea, is still an issue there.
And how are you able to, are you interfacing with patients, or are you teaching other medical professionals there, you personally?
We're doing both. This time we had 3 Haitian doctors there, and we work with them. They learn some of our skills, we learn some of their skills and techniques. We had 2 Haitian nurses who worked with our nurses, and hoping to hone their skills to American standards, and they do a great job.
How about cooperation with the government there? You hear a lot around the world of where NGOs try to go in and help, and the government is taking, it's not necessarily an above board situation. How's that with Haiti?
Been okay. The new president, Martley, has been very good. He's young, he's aggressive, wants to see the country improve, seems free of corruption, and been very cooperative with our group. But again, we're working with local organizations there, Rotary of Haiti, one of the gas companies, some of the local people. Okay. So we have a grassroots organization there. In the American organization, Haitian, or HACOT, I mentioned, are all U.S. military people who were born or have relatives in Haiti.
What if we've been watching all these photos that you've brought along to share, and maybe somebody's watching at home, but they're not a medical professional, and they say, gee, what could I do if I wanted to help? Is there a way they can reach out and support your efforts?
Well, there are many groups you can do that with, and like Food for the Poor is excellent. They're big down there getting food to the people.
And that's the name of the organization.
The organization,
Food for the Poor.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the HACOT is.
That's yours.
Yeah. That's out of. They have a website, HACAOT, and they have a website. They work on education. They work on medical, and they work with teaching agriculture. They work with trying to get new businesses going there, just so basic sanitation.
It's not just money. Are these service groups where you
they're
can
service
go
groups.
out and
You
help
can
also?
go, yes, you can go with them, and you don't have to be medical on many of these. So they work, and they have contacts for needs. Rotary is another one. Rotary of Cap Haitian is a group we've worked with, and Rotary does a nice job.
Meaningful stories, I'm sure you have many of them. Does any relationship stick out or come to mind?
Recent one this time was typical of Haitian people. They're very faith-based. They're very touching, optimistic people. One of the grandfathers I saw in the clinic had been got up in the middle of the night, the night before we got there, heard this terrible noise, and the next thing he remembers is being picked up, pulled out of debris, and mudslide washed their house, which was built on the mountains, washed him down, and he lived with 2 daughters and 7 granddaughters. 1 granddaughter and 1 daughter were found, and so I gave him a big hug after taking care of his bruises and cuts, and he said, "That's okay." He said, "I still have a daughter and a granddaughter. Isn't God good?"
Still
attitude,
being positive, and faith-based after all that, what happened.
And that's so typical of them. Another one was a young man who fell out of a tree 12 years before and broke both his legs, and the bones came right through the bottom of his feet at that time. No medical care. And so he had gone all these years with these open wounds in his heels, and he came in with 2 sticks for crutches and just wondered if we could do anything. Well, they were chronically infected and not real painful, surprising, but very little he could do. Where he lived, there was 4 hours away and no water, or no clean water, no medical care. And so it wasn't something simple we could do for surgery. And one of the workers with me took his shoes off, gave him a pair of shoes. So it's kind of experience gets back.
Wow. Very, very wonderful. I mean, in the face of that tragedy, the human spirit. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dick Schindler, for coming in. Thank you for your service here in Austin and abroad, including in Haiti.
Thank you. You're
And
welcome.
thanks for sharing your story here. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You can watch On Cue anytime by visiting the KSMQ TV website, ksmq.org.
And welcome back to On Cue. I'm Eric Olson. Okay, picture this. It's Friday afternoon. You're sitting in your office thinking about, what am I going to do this weekend? Have big plans. Then all of a sudden, boss is going to send you to the East Coast for like weeks on end with no chance to prepare, no chance to get ready or anything. You're just hitting the road. Well, that's sort of what happened with our guests here just recently. They went out east to help the storm victims of Hurricane Sandy. We're going to talk to them right now, Bill Bumgarner and Russ Nelson from Austin Utilities. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, it really wasn't like that. I mean, did you have a little time to prepare, or how quick did the word come down?
Yeah, we found out, the day before we left that it come down to who wanted to volunteer and who was able to get to go, and it just happened that us two and one other guy were able to get to go.
And
we
it's
found out
not
on Thursday.
I know all the electric utilities, it's all kind of hooked up, but did some emergency government call you, or how did you know that you were going to send 3 people and where you were going to go and all that?
LIPA contacted Minnesota municipals and asked for a mutual aid package to be put together, so they picked
LIPA, did you say?
LIPA.
What's that now?
Long Island Powers Authority.
Thank you.
Contacted Minnesota Municipal Utility Association and asked for a mutual aid package for help, so then they put it together and asked part of the membership towns if they could send some guys and some trucks to go out there and help.
Wow. So had you done this kind of storm, like out-of-town thing before, or was this a new venture?
Yeah, we've done that kind of thing, but never anything out of the state, never anything outside of here. We just were helping the other municipals that are part of MMUA. We've been there and worked in their towns, Lake City. Where else?
The East Grand Forks flood, the tornado in St. Peter. We've helped Rochester. We helped the Freeborn Mauer Co-op. We've helped them in the past.
Sort of like fire departments,
Right.
when they have mutual aid,
Sure.
when they have something big, they come in.
Yep.
So did you know where to drive or who to meet when you got there?
The MMUA had a safety team leader direct all this stuff, and he put it all together and made sure we had rooms and stuff, and our contacts were made when we got there.
So you jump in the truck, you take off, and you're on the road here. We're seeing your vehicles heading east for a you must have had to stop and rest and whatnot, or no, just straight trip?
It took us 3 days to get out there, and we did. We stayed over. We had some long days of driving.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
There's a bridge.
That's the George Washington Bridge crossing into New York.
Oh, okay.
To Long Island.
A lot of fuel ups on the way. The trucks only have a smaller tank than the over-the-road boys. So
Yeah.
like
And
every
what you got
150
there,
miles or something.
That's some of the flood damage. The storm surge was 11 feet, so it flooded most of these businesses, so they had to rip out and start over with new construction. So that's some of the debris that's piled outside.
And the power's out everywhere at this time when you're there, or pretty much?
I would say 25% of it had been restored by the time we got there, so 75%. They had over 1 million customers out at one time. I think when we got there, there was 600,000 people without electricity.
And this one, use your imagination here. You're kind of looking at part of a driveway, as you were telling me, Bill. Is that right?
That's an in-drive to somebody's home.
Now, that's you there.
Yep, that's me, and there's a transformer I'm kneeling on. It's a direct buried transformer.
Okay, speak in non-technical language as much as you can. That's an underground set of wires.
Yeah, well, what it is, you see a green box that your home is energized from, like in a boulevard.
Oh, sure.
What they do out there is, rather than have it on the boulevard, it's buried in the ground, and then the wires from that transformer that feed your home go up into that box you'll see in front of me, and that's where the connections are made for your home, are in that box in front of me. Well, what happened was that actually failed in the ground. So that needed to come up with a different way of giving them their electricity. I think there was probably, 10 homes or something fed out of that particular thing. But that there's one of the guys that climbing a pole that we had just set in the backyard, and I think that's actually the day after the nor'easter hit.
Right.
We were there the day before.
That snowstorm.
Right.
The day before we were there, replaced that pole, and then the nor'easter hit, and then the tree branch come down, and we're there the next day again, putting things back up.
Now you only there were 3 from Austin, right?
Right.
So, but this pictured here is like you were assigned to a duty team or something, right?
We had 23 linemen out there and 11 vehicles, and every day we'd get our work assignments, and then when we'd complete them, we'd meet back there and reorganize and get more work orders and go out and work. So when we were done, we reported back to this parking lot.
Is that New York City somewhere, or where are you at there?
That's on Long Beach,
that's
Oceanside.
Oceanside there. Yep.
And now we've got one more picture before the luxury accommodations. I can't wait to show you that one. But this looks like after that nor'easter storm, maybe?
Yep, that's when we got the 8 to 10 inches of snow in one day.
Did that knock down
pretty
work
much
that
what
had
we'd
already done, or not?
Pretty much what we'd put up got tore back down in that snowstorm.
We
turned right around and started in the same area again.
My gosh, there we go. Luxury accommodations. Now, where was this? What are we looking at?
This was at a park and rec building, and it was just a conference room that they had. That building happened to be open. They let us stay there, and had two restrooms and showers in there, and that's where they let us set up. That was probably the best option we had, really, for out there.
Were you all there sleeping, rising at the same time? Did you have a set schedule? What was the day like?
Well, go ahead, Russ.
We started work at 6 in the morning till 10 at night. We had to be 8 hours off the line. So we had to be up by 6 and in the trucks, and then we worked till 10 o'clock at night.
As a group?
As a group. All 23 of us. We divided in 2 teams and worked that way, but we stayed in the same area and worked so we could stay in contact with each other.
How long were you out there?
We worked 10 days. We had a 10-day working contract with LIPA, so we spent 14 to 15 days total going out and coming back.
Tell the story about this interesting truck.
That's a truck from Seattle, and that was flown out on I believe it was a C-5 transport plane. They had three of them that they could fly in that plane.
So they didn't drive out here; they flew the wheels here.
Right. They were lucky; they had to fly out. But,
that's like all the people who go to Sturgis, but they tow their bikes on the back of a trailer. They don't really ride them.
I think it was kind of interesting. There was 14,000 linemen out there working in about an 8-state area. So in the 49 states were represented there. Plus, there was a lot of companies from Canada that came down. And there was probably more tree trimming crews out there than there was electric crews.
Any difference in how things looked from when you left from when you got there?
Well, the lights were on, and the stop lights were on. That was kind of odd for us. They put up signs that said when stop lights are out, all intersections become 4-way stops. Well, in New York, you don't stop if you got a chance to go through an intersection. So that was when we left, the stop and go lights are on, and a little bit of normalcy come back to the whole situation.
We were in the area, the shopping area, and that was kind of a main focus, was to get the traffic lights back on in that area. It was a 45-mile-an-hour road, and that's the road that went into Long Beach.
Right.
That was a focus. The first day we got to that area was get the traffic signals going, and we'll worry about the businesses, you know.
In due time, and the residential, because you were working on that one residential.
Right. We
job.
worked on both.
We worked on both.
The first half of the week was residential, and then we changed over to commercial. Started picking up shopping centers, grocery stores, places like that.
And you made some friends with your team that from all the different utilities, and we're seeing the group picture now. Any lasting friendships maybe come of it? Who knows?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. I know I keeping in contact with one of the guys for sure, and we're talking about maybe getting together and doing something in the future here. But we'll see how that goes.
Great.
Who knows? They might be coming this way someday for help. Or
absolutely.
Who knows?
Right.
It's always a possibility.
Yep.
Well, guys, thanks. You know, we watch it on TV, but to hear straight from you all when you got to go out there really brings it into perspective. So thanks for the service, and thanks for coming on the show. Russ Nelson and Bill Bumgarner from Austin Utilities. Well, stay with us. Our weekly look at Vision 2020 will come your way right after this.
Queue up your own comments for On Cue and send them to us at onq@ksmq.org. On Cue's Vision 2020 segment is brought to you by Hormel Foundation, Games People Play, and Turtle Creek Estates.
And welcome back to KSMQ's On Cue. I'm Eric Olson. Time now for our weekly Vision 2020 segment. Randy Kramer joins us now. He's heading up the Education Leaders Committee. Randy, welcome.
Thank you.
To our
Thanks,
show.
Eric. Good to see you.
And we've been talking, the committee's been meeting and talking about something called the Strive. Is it Strive Project or Strive Program, which is going on in some other communities that might be beneficial to Austin and education. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. I would call it the Strive Network. Strive Network was originally started in Cincinnati. Started in about the year 2006, so it hasn't been around that long at all. It was a group of concerned people, citizens, groups all around the Cincinnati area that wanted to basically make education outcomes better, stronger, to better prepare kids for their career.
And what I thought was interesting about it is it's not just education professionals, like I'm not in the education world, but maybe I can participate somehow and help. And I think the key is, and you can educate me on this, that it's about measuring success. Can we find some easily identifiable goals that we as a community can agree on matter in education? How can we see improvement?
Right. The Strive Network uses a concept called collective impact. Okay, and in the historically, whenever we've all tried to help education, it's like we help support a certain project and effort and initiative. But what collective impact does is it tries to bring everybody together on the same sheet of music. Where, like you had mentioned, step one is to identify maybe a half a dozen community-wide outcomes that we want to see improve. Whether it's better reading skills, better graduation rates, higher ACT scores, you name it, so that everyone in the whole community is striving towards those outcomes. And then what it does is it engages all aspects of the community to funnel their information, funnel their outcomes, their data through a central collection point. We call it a partners table. And that way then, because there's a lot, and we don't have to reinvent anything. The nice part about this type of structure is that we don't have to create new groups, new committees, that type of thing. All it is coordinating all of the good things that are already happening.
So like the school districts would work with or share data in some way with this project.
Right, absolutely. I mean, the school district collects and analyzes and looks at a ton of data that doesn't get a lot of press. Okay, so I mean that's immensely helpful to measure the outcomes of what's happening in our education system right now. But there's a lot of different groups and committees and things going on out there that maybe their outputs do not get recorded, if you will, or centralized. I think early childhood is probably, or preschool might be a good example of that, where that there's a lot of agencies, if you will, that provide preschool care and for children as they get, you know, between the ages of birth and 5 before kindergarten. But to having all the outcomes, all the curriculum, all of the things that they're talking about running through a centralized data point is a concept of what collective impact is all about.
And that could just help a community in general by well, what I used to, in past jobs, somebody had said, what gets measured gets done.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, and to be able to you know, have measurable outcomes, or we call it to move the needle. You know, so that if it's literacy, if it's kindergarten readiness, all of those things, you know, have to get measured so that they can get improved on.
Sure. Well, Randy, thank you so much.
Appreciate you having me.
Randy Kramer from the Education Leaders Committee of Vision 2020. Pleasure to have you here.
All right. Thanks, Eric.
That's all the time we have for you this week. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again on Q.
On Cue is a production of KSMQ Television in Austin, nonprofit public television.